Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Ask an Angel with Jonathan Hung. I have the pleasure of having the CEO and founder of the Lox Club with me, Austin. Hey, Austin, how are you?
Johnny, I'm excited to be here. I feel like I'm on Jimmy Kimmel. I
Oh,
made it.
we're gonna have some fun. Let me tell you, love for everyone to get to know you, your great company, show why it made sense for me to invest. But let's talk about the Lox Club. When was it founded, and how'd you come up with the idea?
Yeah, so there's kind of like a two-part story to this. Probably like 2 years ago, pre-pandemic, I was going through a breakup and I must have hit rock bottom because I hated dating apps and I tried a few of them.
We've all
And
been
I
there.
just thought, yeah, I just thought they were so awkward and kind of cringy. And I noticed all my friends would like give each other shit. If, like you're embarrassed to admit you met
Mhm,
someone on a dating app, you'd lie and say we met
mhm,
at the gym or the grocery store or whatever. And I'm also at that age where my grandma would be like, "When are you gonna bring home a nice Jewish girl?" And I'm not very religious per se, but I understand like the cultural component of that, and I thought it was funny. So I made this
mhm,
website. Kind of a satire and wrote like literally just a Squarespace wrote the Lox Club, an exclusive dating app for Jews with ridiculously high standards. And I wasn't trying to make a business out of it or anything. And
mhm.
to my surprise, I woke up 2 days later and like 1,000 people had signed up and
Wow.
were bugging me like, "Hey Austin, when should we find out whether we got into the Lox Club or not?" And I would, be like, "This isn't real. I just made a Squarespace. I thought it was funny." Um, Kind of just messing with my friends. And then the pandemic happened, and all of a sudden we're stuck at home and lonely, and everyone's horny,
Mhm,
and there's no other
mhm.
way. There's no ways to meet people now. And people were still bugging me like, "Hey, when are you gonna? When do we find out if we got in the Locks Club or not?"
Yeah.
And after months of saying like there is no app behind this, I never thought of myself as a dating app guy because I've always hated dating apps. Um, it made now that we're stuck at home, it made a lot of sense. Like, okay, like maybe this can actually help people find love, and it would be the Locks Club in theory, like would be really cool if it existed. It's cool. Like I use it myself.
Yeah.
Um, so then I was actually at my grandparents. Unfortunately, passed away within the same month during the pandemic, and I was at their funeral, and I remember going through their old stuff, and
Mhm,
found their wedding invitation, and that's what inspired this whole like secret speakeasy backstory.
mhm.
Where I don't know if your audience is familiar with Lox Club, but when you enter the app, it feels like this old school deli, and it asks you for the secret password because the Lox Club is this 1920s speakeasy that's hidden in the back. Um, and then once you get in, there's all these human matchmakers and real life events, and that's on brand for like the speakeasy. But yeah, a lot of that inspiration came from like looking through my grandparents' old stuff from like the 20s to the 50s.
Yeah, that's great, buddy. So here's the burning question. How are you different? Apps, right? What's the problem you're trying to solve that's different? I don't know if we need to talk about the other apps, but what is the Lux Club? How is it different?
Yeah, I think it's different in a couple ways. First and foremost is it's curated, so you have to apply to get in. It's niche focused, so uh, it's like a deli. It's culturally Jewish. Anyone can enjoy it, but it is about these shared cultural values. Um, and then we have human matchmakers. We're leaning way on also on brand with like the speakeasy. We're leaning way more into this like digital and in real life hybrid.
Mm,
And the big reason for that is like I'm awkward. I feel awkward going to any networking events or bars, or I've been out to karaoke with Johnny. He's probably seen it in me. I get quiet and shy, and I just hate events where like they're so on the nose to meet someone.
yeah.
And I thought it would be really cool if, you can do an activity together, then you connect as a byproduct, which like, yeah, I joke about karaoke, but a karaoke is a perfect version of that, where like you're doing an activity and it's a really easy way to, let loose and connect with people. Um, and I've always loved like themed experiences like the speakeasies with the secret entrances or magic shows or
Right.
escape rooms or like a cocktail tour in a new city.
Mm,
It's such a great way to relax and both for dating and for making friends. So A lot of the magic in Lox Club is comes from us like leaning into that, helping people meet offline as well as online.
Wonderful. And I think this is always so important when we're investing early. And I tell everybody this, listen, we invested in Austin. There was no pitch deck. Get a one pager. There was no pitch. So let people know out there, you don't need a pitch deck if you just have a great story. So one of the parts of why we want to do Lox Club is the team. So I'd love for you to talk about your team and how you built them and how you organize everything so far up to this point.
Yeah, so I think what was very special about our team and something that's kind of unorthodox is that we all started working on this for free. Like we all started
Mm.
legally considered volunteers because we all were obsessed with making this real. Like we all, um, there was originally it was me and two co-founders who are both engineers. I did all the product design. They coded the app, so we built the product totally in-house. And then once we launched it, a couple more team members joined, and there's about 5 or 6 of us just grinding. And I didn't
Mhm.
get. I was the last person on the team to get paid, and I'm still paying myself the bare minimum. So
Mhm.
I think it just created this really intrinsic culture where we were all very genuinely excited about the product. We use it ourselves, and not getting paid for the first couple months, not knowing if we would ever be able to get paid because we didn't have any money. We didn't know if this thing would take off the way it did.
Mhm.
So I think that like is a great litmus test to see like who's really like all in on making this work.
Okay, great. And let's talk about your competitors a little. Like, what are they doing wrong, or what are they missing that you're doing right, that you're capturing the audience now?
I think yeah, that's a good question. There are a couple competitors that I do admire, and I do
Hmm.
admire them from a product design standpoint and what they've done with branding. It's a catch-22 because they're playing a different game. They're more broad. Anyone can download the app. Most of
Mm.
them are free with the freemium with in-app purchases. So they're playing a game of like, how do we get as much volume as possible and monetize them? Where like we are a completely different model. We're more similar to like a digital Soho house model where we're focused on a vertical. And then offering as much value as possible to a specific vertical rather than getting as many people as possible. So it's
Okay.
not that the competitors are doing anything wrong, it's just they're playing a
Hmm.
different game. There's strengths
Hmm.
and weaknesses to both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And here's the part where people love to ask is, it's great you have such success, but it's all about the funding in the beginning, right? Like funding's always a problem. Like, how did you find your investors?
Well, one day I decided that we were going to go out and fundraise, and Johnny just flew down from the heavens with his little angel wings,
Yeah.
and he knocked on our door. No, so my previous company was in this accelerator called Amplify. It's located
Mhm.
in Los Angeles, and um, it's the best decision I ever made. Like, there's such an amazing community, and um, Paul Bricott, the guy who runs it,
Yeah,
Johnny, you're
Paul's great.
friends with.
He's great.
Um, because I had a great relationship and knew Paul pretty well, and he knew me and trusted in me, he was able to make intros that were like when I asked Paul for intros, I didn't say like, look, we weren't desperate for money because we had a pretty good cash flow at that time and a couple of big news articles came out. So I asked Paul like, who do you think would be a real authentic fit for this? Um, because we're fortunate that we can be choosy about who we partner with. So
Mhm.
we were able to get the top tier class of investors like the Johnny Hungs of the world who, they offer a lot more than just money.
No, great. And
And
so, like,
he forced me to say
ah,
that.
checks in the mail is coming. Uh, so then, what's your ideal investor? I mean, do you want someone who's hands on, hands off? Because, like I always tell you, you can call me whenever. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll text you whenever. You can text me whenever. But just curious, what do you look for?
Yeah. I like hands off actually because then it gives
Mhm.
me the freedom to know like, okay, I need help with something, I'll come to you and ask. Of course, I appreciate like if you see an article or you have an
Mhm.
idea or you meet someone that you think is worth me talking to, like please throw it on my lap. I think you have a really like the perfect balance of that. Like a lot of
Mhm.
people's a lot of founders' fears is like they'll bring in an investor who's a
Yeah.
little too hands-on and it could be annoying. But I think the best investors recognize like, look, we haven't built this specific type of company ourselves before. So the founder knows what they're doing to an extent, but they, of course, they have blind spots, and I will help them plug those blind spots wherever I can.
Absolutely. Great. So let's switch gears, talking about what advice you'd give. If you this the great thing about you, Austin, when I met you is like you already have another company that you worked on as a founder. So what would you give a new founder, someone starting out, advice on how to build a company, any company?
Something that I learned the hard way is
Mhm.
build something. I failed many companies before this one, and that's why this one's kind of like weirdly smooth sailing because I made so many mistakes in the past.
Mhm.
And the things in my life that have worked, I've truly done because I wanted them to exist for free. Like I wasn't thinking I want to make millions of dollars off of this. I was thinking it would be cool if this existed both for me and
Mhm.
some other people would, you know, benefit from this existing. So that first and foremost. Um, and then also like ignoring the Forbes, ignoring the vanity type articles, which like I used to read
Mhm.
as a kid and read so and so raised 40 million, but I don't even understand what that company even does. And then I would feel like shit, like, oh, this is
Yeah.
so out of reach for me. I'll never be that smart. And I think it's important to recognize that no one knows what they're doing. I'll be the first to admit I don't know what I'm doing. Um, we're all just figuring it out like one step at a time. And like those articles that make people sound like geniuses, they're all fluffed up a little bit.
No, no, absolutely. But hey, I'm still under 40, so I got one more year left to make that list.
Yeah, you deserve to be on the cover, cover or
No, no,
bust.
no, no, no. Well, let's talk about that. I mean, press, marketing. I mean, what do you think the Lox Club the most? How have you gotten the word out there to people who want to subscribe?
Yeah, so with press, everyone asks me like, who's your what PR agency were you using when you got all
Right.
that press? The
Hmm.
truth is we didn't have a press strategy at that time. We're more on top of it now, but when we first launched, I remember thinking like, oh, this is kind of like a niche thing. Don't I
Hmm.
told my team like, don't expect this to go mainstream. Like, it's a hard pitch to press because it's like it's so nuanced, like exclusive dating app for Jews with ridiculously high standards. I think because it was funny and because a lot of reporters were using the app, um, it was organic for them to reach out and write a story about it. We got really lucky. Like New York Times picked it up, Vogue picked it up,
Hmm.
Forbes picked it up right out of the gate. I had amazing. I really liked the all of the reporters I talked to. They're all like actually people that I would be friends with, so it was a very natural, authentic conversation. And then this Instagram account called Dumois started posting on celebrity sightings that were celebrities that were using Lox Club. And at first I was like a little uncomfortable because I want to protect people's privacy.
Right.
But I have to admit, like it did get us more exposure. I just whenever they ask me like is a celebrity on Lox Club, I would just say no or can't no comment. But that I can't deny that definitely helped like people hearing about celebrities on the app.
No, hey, it's great. So then what's next for the Locks Club? I mean, I love you to tell people like where they can find it, cities make sense, or your next vertical that you want to work on with the
Yeah,
company.
so we're only open in 3 cities right now, and this is going to be a crazy year. Um, we're launching in every major city, and then
Mhm.
we're going to launch globally. The first city launch is in Austin, Texas. We're like the big event at South by Southwest. Um, yeah, I'll need you to come, Johnny, so I can hide behind
No,
you. I get overwhelmed
done,
at those things.
done. I'm with you. No, that's what I do. Full service. That's what I am. Yeah, let's
Please,
have fun.
Chief.
I'll come out there for sure.
What did we decide your title was in our first conversation? Chief Fun Officer or
Chief
Chief
Party
Party?
Officer.
Chief
Chief
Party
Party
Officer.
Officer. Someone's got to do it.
CPO. Let's make you a CPO business card.
That's right. That's right. Get those printed. Yeah, I'm good to the do an NFT drop. It'll be great. No, that's wonderful. Um, so right now, Austin, what do you need that it thinks you're going to take to the next level? I think you're doing really great cash flow rise. I mean, because people talk about dating apps and like, well, hey, we're okay. What if you found the person? That's actually wonderful. I think the stories you talk about people who've gotten married or have had babies from your side, those are great stories. Now,
Yeah.
what do you see as future things that you want to work on to help not necessarily drive people back to the website, but help the next future people find what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's honestly the best part of the job because it isn't as glamorous work as it may seem. It is really fucking hard.
Hmm.
But when people reach out and like send us their engagement pictures, or
Yeah.
I'll walk into a restaurant sometimes and there'll be someone sitting there on a Lox Club date and be like, "Hey, you're the Lox Club guy." Sometimes I forget I'm not playing a video game. There's real people that that use this app, so that's so cool. The next step is, for me personally, is learning how to scale a company.
Mhm.
I've never scaled a company above like 12 employees. Now we have 20 and we're growing, and recruiting is such an art,
Yeah.
and it's almost a full-time job, and especially I'm being very intentional about bringing in the best possible leadership team regardless of what city they're in, um, how old they are. I just want like you know I want to be really intelligent about this and build the right infrastructure so then we can scale to all these cities and across the world intelligently. And then in terms of product, we're excited to do a lot more um, of that hybrid in real life stuff. Like we're
Mhm.
building out events and experiences. For example, we just did this Hamilton experience in New York where um, people
Great.
on Lox Club got like the best 3 rows in the building because we partnered with Broadway. And then afterwards, they got to have drinks with the Hamilton cast, which is
Oh,
I
man.
had I had so much FOMO. I wanted to fly there. It's so cool, and
Yeah.
that's the perfect example of the type of experience that like
Hmm.
it's not awkward. Like you would go there, but I would go there by myself to see
Hmm.
Hamilton and hang out with the cast. So it makes it so much easier to connect with people on both like a dating level or make new friends.
Hey, wonderful. And where do you get inspiration from? I mean, are there any books or publications or podcasts that you look for or try to learn from or tell your team about to read or follow?
Oh, great question. Well, there's Johnny Hung.
Okay.
My parents I talk to every day. Um, I think I get a lot from them. Uh, Podcast specifically. I really like there's I could give you some books.
Yeah, love to. Love to hear.
I love Principles by Ray Dalio.
Hmm.
Um, this book called One Thing. I forget who it's by though, but it's a great focus book. The Alchemist.
Oh.
Everyone's probably read that one already. It's more of a novel,
Hmm.
fable about life in general. Crucial Conversations. Great management book. Have you read that one?
No, I haven't. I'm gonna put it on my list now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's it's great for like how to handle any like awkward conversations or conflict because like I think when something's, happening quickly or growing quickly, there's
Hmm.
always going to be when you're dealing with a big group of people, there's always going to be little things that come up. So like that book's really helped us like maintain this really fun and loving company culture.
Yeah, wonderful. And just out of curiosity, Austin, like, what do you think about this whole explosion with this Web3? Everything's being decentralized, and
Hmm.
I mean, are you taking crypto yet for your membership? I
No, but
mean,
I only get pitched it like 6 times a day. When's the Lox Club NFT coming out?
hey, there you go, right?
Yeah,
It's
I'll
great.
wait till you nudge me and say like, hey,
All right.
this is the time.
No, I think you're doing great. So let's not mess with a good thing for now. Wonderful. Okay, great. Austin, you have any questions for me I could help you out with right now, or you're thinking about?
Yeah,
Any advice
I
on
have
it?
a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm curious, when you first met me and heard about
Mhm.
Lox Club, what got you most excited about it and made you want to invest?
For me, it was, Listen, what we're not sharing with everybody is like, look, we saw crazy numbers, right? You had great numbers, you had great revenue. I mean, really, you didn't even need that much money because you had revenue. It wasn't like you were dying for money at the time. What was exciting for me and with my business partner, Philip, is that it's just the category, and what you were focused on makes so much sense in this world where we want to feel like we're not just part of this great big thing, that we feel special in our own little world. And for me, that was exciting. I mean, look,
Mhm.
with for ridiculously high standards, yeah, it made sense. There is a niche market for that. And then we talked about other things, about like, well, there could be other verticals that we can go into, different categories, whether it could be like,
Mhm.
we joked, I'll tell everyone here, I own the karaoke club app, website. So when Austin's ready, I'm going to transfer it to him from my GoDaddy account.
Mhm.
you know and it's always about innovation, because you think like, oh, okay, I'll mention some people, like, you think, oh, it's Tinder. Well, it's not going to be just Tinder, and before that there was Match. So what's the next iteration? And we just thought, like, you know what you're doing, and your team, your experience, we're going to find something that's going to be 10x, in dating again. I always love what Whitney said at Bumble. It's like, love is profitable. That's the thing, everybody
Mhm.
needs love. So I thought, okay,
Mhm.
this could be the next best love investment.
Yeah, I like that. The way we view the Lox Club and the way we view where it can go in the future is very aligned. So I knew
Mhm.
after our first conversation we meshed well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great. Austin, I'm sure everybody knows about the Locks Club, but do you want to have a little
Mhm.
plug or talk about, like, what to do? What, any tricks of getting in for people?
Um, Tricks are honestly, if you when you apply, it's called Lox Club, LOXCLUB. Download the app, name drop Johnny, or say you watch this show. Honestly, well, I'll tell my membership committee if anyone says they watched Johnny Hung show, bump them up, give them preference.
Oh, there you go, people. We're gonna get extra views now. Thank you, Austin.
Just be yourself. Honestly, if you're just genuine and authentic and
No.
show your quirky side, you'll get in.
Mhm. No, and that's the thing. That's what I love. Like, I'll tell everyone, I'm a member. I'm not
Hmm.
Jewish, but I love the culture. So it's
Hmm.
really finding great minds and great people, and it's really about, hey, is it? And I know I'm not talking to someone fake. Like, Austin
Hmm.
does a great job. The team at Loxo does a great job of going through every application.
Yeah, very hands-on. Everything's very human, for better or worse. But we have fun doing it, so why not?
Absolutely. All right, Austin. Thank you so much for doing this. I wish you continued success. I look forward to seeing you at the next
Mhm.
karaoke event.
Thanks for having me, Johnny. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Thank
Bye.
you.